What's going on, guys? I'm SimpleSimon and welcome back to Simple Japan. In this episode, our adventure at Nakano Broadway continues as we try to venture through as many Mandarake stores as possible in a short amount of time. But can I find a Mandarake store that has things that interest me? If you guys have just jumped onto this video series, there is a playlist in the video description if you guys want to go back and watch our entire trip so far. And before we start, if you guys collect comic books, trading cards, vinyl or physical media, check out my channel sponsors Defender Hobby Supplies. They're available at Collectors Hub and you can get 10% off store-wide at Collectors Hub when you use my affiliate link in the video description along with the discount code. This is Simple Japan Episode 7. Quick shout out to my Minions, your support means the world, and if you want exclusive, members only videos and exclusive emojis, hit the join button to find out more, but always remember, your membership is not required. The best way to support the channel is by liking and commenting on videos. So, if you watched the last episode, you'll know that we went to Nakano Broadway. Now, someone in the comments corrected me and said I mispronounced it and totally butchered it. Apparently it's Nakano. Nakano Mandarake. Oh, how did that sound? So, just to catch you up on things, Mandarake didn't open until midday and we arrived just a little bit before 11 o'clock and we only had a short amount of time here because we had a busy day planned. So we waited and waited until 12 o'clock when Mandarake officially opened, and as you would have seen in the last episode, we wandered around looking at all the shops that were open before 12 p.m. But what we didn't know was, while Nakano Broadway was made up of mostly toy stores, about 70% of those toy stores were Mandarake stores. Now, there was definitely no shortage of cool things to see in the windows of those closed stores, but 12 o'clock was slowly approaching. Now it's time to get our first taste of Mandarake at Nakano Broadway. Does that sound alright? And how nice is this little entrance walkway? Beautiful. Now, I'm not positive, but from what I could gather, I believe all the Mandarake stores in this building were kind of themed in a way. So this first shop that we walked into, I believe, was a vintage toy store. Japanese vintage toys, to be more precise. So there are a lot of robots, a lot of monsters, a lot of Japanese characters that I'm not familiar with, but it's still cool to look at. And then we went to the next store, which was themed, I believe, a mech robot store. So when I was a kid, I actually was really into Robotech. I had this one Robotech tape that I used to watch over and over. So I was a big fan of mech robots when I was a kid. As I got older, for some reason I just grew out of the idea of humans jumping into giant robot suits, but they're super popular in Japan, obviously. And these figures of all these anime girls in mech warrior outfits were everywhere, and that was super, super cool. If I knew who the hell they were, I might have bought one, but look how great these are. I do show a lot of these throughout my trip, so you'll get a better look and hopefully in some other videos. But yeah, while mech robots were no longer my thing, they were still super cool to look at. And then we moved on to the next store. I believe this store had some pretty cool magazines in the window. So we went in there to have a look and it was just wall-to-wall manga books, along with magazines and other reading material, but it was very hard to navigate your way through there because we didn't know what we were looking for. We were kind of just looking and it was chaos in there. These here kind of look like vintage mangas, which are pretty cool. I wonder if there's like a golden age of manga like there is with comic books. And then we went into the next store, which hopefully no one's getting epileptic fits from because of the lighting. I believe this was the doll themed store. They got some Sailor Moon stuff in there as well. And then we finally arrived at this store, which was the most intriguing because like a lot of Mandarake stores, they've got a really fascinating exterior decoration. So a lot of cool stuff on the outer front of the shop there. And that kind of makes you think that it's the main Mandarake store in this building. And then when you go in there, it was just a whole ton of books. The whole place was just a bookstore, so we were in and out of there pretty quick. And again, there's nothing wrong with books. I'm not saying that I wouldn't have bought any books, but it was just hard to navigate when you don't know what you're looking for and you can't read any of these signs in the store. I had also read on the internet that Nakano Broadway was not what it used to be, and apparently it's been taken over by a lot of watch stores, and they weren't wrong. There was a ton of watch stores there, but I couldn't believe how many bookstores there were. Here's another one. This store did have a little bit of a mix with some physical media as well though. Alright, so this next store is Mandarake Special 41, I think was hiding behind that sign. And I do have to apologize for my terrible camera work in some of these shots. Unlike a lot of my videos back home when I'm actually filming what's in front of me, I actually had the camera just held to my chest while I was walking around and looking at stuff. So a lot of the shots are a little bit wonky, unfortunately. Alright, so I'd stumbled across a lot of different genres, from Japanese vintage to robot mech warrior suits to cards to anime to dolls, but I was starting to wonder if I was ever going to find the stuff that I was into. And then I came across SP5. Whatever SP5 means, all I know is that this shop had what I was looking for. Well, had stuff that I was interested in, but not necessarily stuff I could afford. This store here was a good mix of vintage and modern toys, but they had so much Alien and Predator stuff, and just movies that I grew up with and just have nostalgia for me. They had heaps of Star Wars, including these dope Star Wars kicks. They even had G.I. Joe figures. I'm not too sure if they're vintage or if they're reissues. And like I said, just heaps of hot toys, the Crow there, and all kinds of cool movies. You got Spider-Verse ones at the top. So I'm super glad that I found this store because we were running out of time and I was starting to worry if I was ever going to see stuff that I'm into. There's the old Matrix figures. My brother has a bunch of those. I wasn't too sure what this Vampirella figure was. I've never seen that. Apparently it glows in the dark. You got the Aliens Hot Toys Power Loader there. I have a friend who has that. I don't remember the box looking like that, but apparently that's what the box looks like. And if we had left now, I would have been happy that I found this store. But then right across from that store was this store, Mandarake Special 5. Just these two stores together made this trip all worth it. Also, just a quick shout out to all the viewers from the last episode who let me know where they were watching from. When I look at my channel analytics, my viewership in Australia is so high now, and my US viewers have dropped so low, I start to think that YouTube wasn't promoting my videos anywhere else but Australia. But it turns out I was absolutely wrong. Not only did I still have viewers in the US and Canada, but worldwide there were people chiming in from the Philippines to Malaysia to the UK to even Germany, Turkey and Spain. So big shout out to all you guys who left a comment. It really helps me with my insecurities, and maybe I'm just overthinking stuff sometimes. Alright, so when I see Aliens Kenner figures in box, I know I'm in my happy place. This place had a ton of vintage toys, as well as modern, as well as premium to loose figures. This store had it all. They even had that hard to find stuff, the stuff you never see, like Danger Girl action figures. And I'm not sure if I've mentioned this in my videos yet, but when it comes to buying toys over there, the prices on the stuff that you can get here on modern toys like Marvel Legends and Star Wars Black Series, the prices are about the same, if not more expensive. When it came to vintage toys, the prices were actually on the money of what I think it's worth, or it was very, very cheap. You weren't getting ripped off over there. So I really wish I found more stores that had vintage toys on this trip. So when I was in a place like this, it just felt special while I was there. I'm not too sure if I've ever seen this Batmobile in its shell before. I know it's from the movies, but I don't know if I've ever seen this toy. It came with a remote, it looks like, as well. If anyone knows what it is, let me know in the comments. You got some Hellboy figures here. If my friend Matilda Gothica is watching, this shot is for you. And I noticed that a lot of the shops that had vintage figures or older figures, there was a lot of McFarlane, there was a lot of Spawn. These figures I want to get my hands on one day. The Worst, that's the name of my band, and they made figures. I don't know what The Worst is, but I think I should get some of those figures one day. Now, this store wasn't big by any stretch of the imagination, but it packed a punch as far as all the cool things you could look at. And even though we were in a hurry and I was running out of time, I was determined to show you guys as much. As that thing got its dong out, it's got a monster dong. It actually looks like a monster dong. Now, this is a classic Japan vlog shot. As I mentioned before, I wasn't really focused on what I was filming. I was trying to actually look for once. So here's me having a good look at the figure while my camera's, sitting at my chest. I would never have done that in a vlog back home. Back home, it's all about the shot and not about me. But while I was in Japan, I really want to actually focus on what I was looking at, including these loose figures. I had to have a rummage through them to see if I could find any bargains. I had some great figures in there too. A lot of DC figures like this Batman here. They've got some Witchblade even. And then they've got Bat Santa. And who remembers Elizabeth Hurley when Austin Powers came out? Oh my goodness, great looking figure. And then the sequel came out and I was like, oh my god, Heather Graham. Great combo. So our time at Nakano Broadway was up, and I'm so glad I stumbled across these stores right at the end. And while it was time to go, I was kicking and screaming and walking very slowly so I could keep filming the stuff that was in the window of this store. Look at that most excellent toy there, whatever it is. Got some vintage Terminator there. My childhood hero, John Rambo. And it just kept going. More awesomeness just kept coming at me. You got Revoltech figures, Mafex. Oh, time to look for my Harley Quinn Mafex figure. There's a Suicide Squad one there, which is not one that I'm after. They also had some figure arts there. There's another Harley, but just not the one that I was after. So yeah, it was very hard to leave this place. As we were leaving the building, we kept walking past more and more stores that we hadn't even had a chance to look at yet, and it was just too much for me to take. I really needed a blindfold to walk out of there, but I couldn't help but stop and look at more stores as we were trying to leave. Like, I hadn't even checked out the Transformers store yet. This store had all kinds of Transformers, and I didn't even get time to have a look. So again, if I had to give some kind of advice, if you were preparing to come to Nakano Broadway to check out the number of awesome stores and Mandarake, go there at about midday. Make sure you don't have any other plans for that day, because you're going to need a whole day to investigate this whole place. Next time on Simple Japan, we go from Nakano Broadway to the famous Shinjuku. We visit some famous landmarks there, and we visit a store that will make you feel like a kid again. I finally decide on a custom phone case, and while we wait 4 hours for it to be made, we hit the streets to see what Shinjuku has to offer. We then end day 3 over a beautiful dinner with some friends and a familiar face you might recognize from the channel. If you guys are still watching this video, I appreciate you. Hopefully you guys are still enjoying this series, and if you want to show some love and support for the channel, all you got to do is hit that like button, leave a comment if you wish, make sure you subscribe, hit that bell so you don't miss an episode, and until next time, I'm SimpleSimon, tell your friends, and keep it simple.